So we've created these two Photoshop documents as visuals for the site. Here is the home page. This is a Photoshop document showing how we want the home page to look. And here is an about page. And I just want to quickly show you now how I would present these to the client. And the best way to do that is online on a web page. This is the home page visual, and all it is a JPEG stuck in the middle of a home page. I'll show you the HTML here, and we'll come back to that later. But let's show you the whole process from the Photoshop document. First thing you do is to save for web and devices. That's Command-Alt-Shift-S on the Mac, or File, Save for Web and Devices. Bear in mind this isn't for general use, this is going to be for showing a client or something, and so it doesn't really matter whether we save a high quality JPEG with a large size, 320k, that's unheard of on the web, but it doesn't really matter because you're only showing it to your client and it doesn't matter if it takes a little while to download. So you just save a JPEG like that onto your computer somewhere. And now I'll show you the HTML that I use to present this JPEG on a web page. And here it is. This is the document type information that comes at the beginning of every HTML page. This says which version of HTML you're using. And this opens the HTML tag. As you'll see with HTML, most tags have a start tag and an end tag. Notice the end tags have a slash in front of them. As you can see, this HTML tag is opened here and closed here. Same with the head, and every web page has a head and a body, and the head contains some meta information and some links to style sheets or JavaScript, basically stuff that you can't see on the web page. It also contains the title, which will be visible at the top of the browser window in most browsers. And then, as I said, the body, here is this opening body tag and here is the closing body tag. The opening body tag has style, and this is inline CSS, and here we have a margin and a padding of 0. Padding is space inside and margin is space outside. Browsers put different values to these margins and paddings. Putting 0 on them kind of evens it all out. And background #FFF, that gives a white colour to the background. And then inside that body tag we have a div. They're very common in HTML. They basically don't do anything on their own, but they're used to divide up the web page into various parts. And on this div has some inline CSS again. Margin 0 auto gives a margin of 0 on the top and the bottom, and auto on the left and the right, and what that actually does is center it. Padding again 0. That's the height is fairly self-explanatory, as is the width. And the text align center, basically it hangs the image in the center, and it hangs from the top because that's the default on all browsers. Finally, inside that div tag, you have an image tag, img, and the source of the image, src, and that gives a reference to the browser as to where it should pick up the photo. So basically all this HTML is doing is putting a photo in the middle of a white page and making sure it's high enough and wide enough to view it. The photo is called CD2. Now we just saved one called cdpage1.jpg, so we're going to put that in, just copied that, and I'm going to paste that in there, so it now calls our new image. Let's not forget to save as. In this case we're doing a visual for the about page, so I'll call this HTML document about-1.html and save it into the folder where I've got the image. So we'll save that in there. The images and the HTML files are all in the same folder. If they were in a different folder, for example if they were in a folder inside that folder called images, you'd have to put images / there, and that would tell the browser that to look into a folder called images for this image with this name. But as it's on exactly the same place as the HTML document, you don't need to do that. So there's always a path here to find the image, 9 times out of 10. Index HTML, that is the name browser first looks for inside a directory to display a web page. And there's either, you can save things as index.html or index.php, and the browser will always find that. So typically your index.html or your index file is your home page. but in this case we're going to do the About page. If you actually double click on the About page now, it will open locally. It will serve up a web page showing the image of the About page that we just saved. So all we have to do is upload that to a remote server, and then we have a link to show our client the visual for the site, and I'll show you how to do that now. So in order to upload files to a remote server, it's best you get some sort of FTP software. In this case I have FileZilla, and in order to have access to a remote server you usually need 3 bits of information. First of all, the host, which can be an IP address or it can be an FTP address, a username and a password. And that's usually all you need. That's the web address. I've put it inside a folder called Creative with the 8, which is inside a folder called Dev. So you can see in the FTP program, here is on our remote site, here is our folder called Dev, and inside we have that folder called Creative. And then inside there is our indexed HTML. So that is where we're going to put our new files. In FileZilla you can set up your local site here and your remote site here. But I don't usually bother with that. I usually just drag them in. So we want that one, and just drag them in there. And you'll see they're uploading now. Doesn't take very long, even though one of them was quite a big file. So now I know if I type in about-1.html, I will then see this picture on our remote site. So let's do that. So here I just type in about-1.html, and there is our visual to show to our clients. It's 10 times better than just putting an image in an email. I hope you enjoyed that. A little introduction to HTML, but a nice way of showing clients a visual for a website. Okay, so this is Rob from robcubban.com. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.